Has the time not come, Prime Minister, to prescribe what is so obviously a terrorist organisation, and in doing so, not just do the right thing, but maybe mend some fences between this government and the incoming presidency of Donald Trump's, given that the whole of his cabinet have been so rude about him over the last few years?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to see the honourable member making a rare appearance back here in Britain. He spent so much time in America recently. I was half expecting to see him on the immigration statistics when we see the next batch. But he may have missed. I did congratulate.
2 minutes ago, something happened inside Westminster that changes everything. A leaked briefing note landed on journalists' phones, and it confirmed the worst fears of millions. Keir Starmer's Brexit reversal is no longer speculation. It is policy. And tonight, Britain is watching its democracy buckle under the weight of betrayal. Before we roll the footage, just one thing: if you enjoy our work, drop a like and hit subscribe. Over 98% of you are watching without subscribing. Let's change that right now. It's free for you, but it fuels everything we do. Subscribed? Perfect. Now, enjoy the video. The mood inside Parliament is incandescent. Voices raised, papers slammed, senior MPs pacing corridors with phones pressed tight to their ears. This is not theatre. This is panic. Because the Prime Minister, who swore blind to respect Brexit, has been caught moving Britain back into the EU's orbit, step by step, clause by clause, deal by deal. And now the reckoning has begun. According to sources inside Downing Street, the crisis began with a quiet meeting. No cameras, no statements, just Starmer, senior civil servants, and EU negotiators behind closed doors late on a Friday night. By Monday morning, the outlines of a new alignment framework were circulating through Whitehall. And, by Tuesday, furious MPs realised what it really meant. Brexit, in practice, was being hollowed out. The first reaction was disbelief, then anger, then outright revolt. One Labour backbencher was overheard saying, "We were lied to, all of us." Another texted a journalist just 3 words: "This ends him." Starmer went to the country in July 2024 with promises carved in stone. No return to the single market, no customs union, no rejoining the EU. Not now, not ever. Those words are now coming back to haunt him. Because what he is doing may not use the same labels, but the substance is unmistakable. Alignment, regulatory convergence,
in hand.
Jurisdiction,
this is the first
shared
test,
frameworks. This is Brexit in reverse. The spark that lit the fire was his weekend announcement, delivered calmly, almost casually. Britain would now follow single market rules on food products. Starmer said it was pragmatic. He said it was in the national interest. But MPs knew exactly what it meant. EU rules without EU votes. Brussels laws without Westminster consent. The room fell silent, then erupted. Nigel Farage wasted no time. Within minutes, he was on camera, calling it the greatest political sellout in modern British history. They never accepted the result, he said. And now they are undoing it in plain sight. Reform UK clips flooded social media. Number Brexit Betrayal trended within an hour. By evening, even Labour MPs were privately sharing the videos. But this is not just about one announcement. The evidence is cumulative, relentless, damning. Starmer scrapped the Turing Scheme, a globally focused programme that sent British students to universities worldwide. In its place, he reinstated Erasmus, European-focused, EU-administered, at a projected cost of £8 billion over 10 years. Treasury officials privately admit the numbers do not stack up, and the impact is asymmetrical. Fewer British students going out, many more EU students coming in. Universities quietly welcomed it. MPs in marginal seats did not. One Red Wall MP said bluntly, "My voters did not vote for this." Then came the Youth Mobility Scheme, sold as cultural exchange, marketed as opportunity, but buried in the fine print is a potential eligibility pool of up to 64 million EU citizens aged 18 to 30. Brussels has pushed for no caps, no hard limits, no meaningful restrictions. Freedom of movement, critics say, through the back door. Lee Anderson called it exactly that. He stood in the Commons and said the government was defying the will of the British people. He reminded MPs that Brexit was won despite elite opposition and that voters will not forgive another attempt to undo it. The chamber was tense. The silence after he spoke was louder than applause. And then there is fishing, the most symbolic Brexit issue of all. Control of British waters, promised back, fought for, celebrated, and now handed away. Starmer extended EU access to UK fishing grounds until 2038, 12 years longer than planned. Fishing leaders were stunned. Coastal communities felt stabbed in the back. A Cornish fisherman told the BBC, "They promised us our waters. Now they've given them away again." The National Federation of Fishermen's Organisations called it a disastrous outcome. Even normally cautious trade bodies broke cover. The anger is visceral, but the most explosive move came quietly. A sanitary and phytosanitary agreement, technical sounding, bureaucratic, deadly serious. Britain aligning food and agriculture standards with EU regulations. And crucially, placing oversight under the European Court of Justice. British courts sidelined. European judges empowered. Legal scholars at Oxford University have warned this represents a significant transfer of sovereignty. The Guardian described it as Brexit in name only. Even the BBC, usually restrained, acknowledged it marked a profound shift. And still, it did not stop there. Britain is now moving toward joining the EU's internal energy and electricity market. Net zero alignment, shared carbon pricing mechanisms, tariffs on so-called high-emission imports, at a time when Britain already suffers the highest industrial energy prices in the world. Manufacturers are furious. Data center investors are pulling back. AI firms are looking elsewhere. One industry insider told Bloomberg, "This makes Britain uncompetitive by design."
But I never thought that
the Daily Telegraph put it more bluntly. Net zero doubled. The irony is suffocating. When Donald Trump imposed tariffs, the political class screamed, "Protectionism, madness." Now Starmer is signing Britain up to EU carbon tariffs that will raise prices for consumers already struggling with the cost of living. And the public is noticing. Polling this week shows Reform UK leading Labour nationally. In some projections, Farage's party is on course for over 380 seats. Labour collapses to double digits. Conservatives fare little better. Political scientists are calling it the greatest realignment since the war. Inside Labour, fear has turned to rebellion. Over 130 MPs have signalled opposition to key government policies. More than 120 signed an amendment against welfare reforms. 42 wrote directly to Starmer, warning they could not support his direction. 13 voted against their own government on customs alignment. Cabinet unity has cracked. Wes Streeting publicly contradicted the Prime Minister on the customs union. Insiders see it as positioning. Andy Burnham criticised welfare cuts from outside Westminster. Veterans call it unprecedented. Blood is in the water. One senior Labour MP told Sky News, "This is not sustainable." Another said, "We are heading for annihilation." Then came the darkest turn of all. Dominic Cummings, architect of the Brexit campaign, issued a chilling warning. Speaking on a major podcast, he claimed elements of the establishment are prepared to use illegal means to stop Reform UK, leaking medical records, tax details, phone surveillance, private conversations, anything necessary. These are not anonymous claims. This is a man who sat at the heart of power, who knows how the machine works. Reform UK Chairman Zia Youssef responded with 2 words. It's begun. If true, the implications are terrifying. Not just for one party, but for democracy itself. A permanent ruling class willing to subvert elections to preserve control. Legal experts warn this would represent a constitutional crisis of the highest order. Starmer now faces pressure from all sides. Industry, voters, his own MPs, the opposition, and a growing belief that he is not just reversing Brexit, but bypassing democracy to do it. The May local elections loom. Farage has made them a referendum on betrayal. He is targeting disengaged voters, the disillusioned, the millions who feel ignored. He believes momentum is unstoppable. Starmer insists he will survive. He told the BBC he expects to be Prime Minister next year, but the walls are closing in. His authority is eroding. His promises lie in tatters. And the question now whispered in Westminster corridors is no longer if he falls, but when. This is bigger than Brexit, bigger than parties. It is about whether votes still matter, whether sovereignty means anything, whether power ultimately rests with the people or with unaccountable elites. So ask yourself this. If Brexit can be undone without consent, what else can be taken away? If promises mean nothing, why trust again? And if this is allowed to stand, what future does British democracy really have? Stay with us. Subscribe. Turn on notifications, because this story is moving fast. And what happens next will define Britain for a generation.